Hello, welcome back to this series on the dark night of the soul as I go through the dark night of the soul publicly with you. Today I have been experiencing suffering, and so I thought, what a great thing to talk about. Because we all suffer, and all of us in our lives many times will experience suffering coming from many different angles. This thing over here is causing me suffering, and oh yes, this is causing me suffering, and yeah, this is a big one. And so we go through these times in our life where we can become overwhelmed with our own suffering. And Ram Dass would say, or has said many times, that suffering is your curriculum. And I love to look at it this way, and this is the way that I look at suffering, my own suffering, is that it is my curriculum, my teacher. It is showing me what I am clinging to. It is showing me wounds that I have that maybe I didn't even know that I had. And it is highlighting the separation that I have from God, which you could also say from myself, since I am God, you are God, we are all God. Everything that you see is God. So when we're suffering, this is a great opportunity for us to step back and examine the suffering, why we're suffering, what we're clinging to, what beliefs, ideas do we have, what ideas do we have about what should or shouldn't be happening, and what perspective are we looking through, because perspective is just this blend of our experiences. Our experiences color and shade and paint our perspectives, the belief systems that we have, all of the experiences that we've had. These will mold and shape our perspectives. So there's all these different things happening at once. And for me, the first thing I do when I start to feel suffering is I step back. It's almost as if, in that new Spider-Man movie where you see Spider-Man get punched by Doctor Strange and he leaves his body. It's like that. You step outside of your body and you observe. You observe the suffering and you begin to bring awareness into the suffering. What is happening here? What am I feeling? What is my perspective on this? What do I believe shouldn't be happening right now? And all of this is useful in our spiritual awakening to understand things that are blocking our connection and causing the separation between us and Source. You call it God. Because all of us are already connected to Source. We are already whole and fulfilled. It is only obstacles that we have in our life that pile up and create a separation. It is an illusion that we are separated from Source. So when we are suffering, this is a great insight into those obstacles, the things that we need to remove, because it isn't that we need to add to feel whole or do something to connect with God. It's all these things that are in our way, that are blinding us. All of the illusions that we have come to accept as truth, which are actually just illusions. So when I suffer, I like to examine the suffering. And this brings me peace in itself when I can allow separation between the suffering and myself. I feel the energy of suffering without the story. That's so important. You want to feel the energy. Where is it in your body? Emotional suffering usually occurs up here in the chest. And so I focus on that. I feel the energy in my body and I allow the suffering to exist. I don't resist the suffering. I have long ago let go of the idea that this shouldn't be happening, and I know that it should be happening because it is. There is something for me to learn. There is something for me to see. And I allow. I'm just allowing the energy to be in my body. I'm not resisting it or pushing it away. I'm just allowing the suffering, the energy. Without, it's hard. You go back to the ego part of yourself who wants to give the words and the meaning. This is why you're suffering, and this person said this, or this happened. And that is natural, but keep removing that. You'll find yourself going back to the ego mind, and then just try to remove that again and just focus on the energy that you're feeling in your body and just allowing that energy to be. Trying to change your perspective on suffering also helps. So if you could focus on suffering as a sensation that you are experiencing, an energy in your body, without feeding it the mental words and ideas that the ego is coming up with. Like I said, you'll go back to that, but then just bring your attention back. Bring your attention back into your body, into where you're feeling the energy. Breathing helps. Taking deep breaths and just allowing whatever's happening right now that is causing you suffering to happen, without focusing on the mental construct, the perception that you have for the reason that you are suffering. This is important. And as you do this, the more you practice this allowing of things to be, of you acknowledging that suffering is your curriculum. It is intended for you to assist you in your spiritual awakening, in your growth. I've heard many spiritual teachers who are happy when they're suffering in many ways because, oh, now I have an opportunity to learn, to grow. And practicing allowing in our lives is one of the best things that we can do, because when we are not practicing allowing, we are clinging to the way that we want things to be. We are clinging to that idea that it shouldn't be happening. And we are resisting, so we are actually persisting. We are not allowing that energy to move through us and then pass through us, because the more we allow this energy of suffering in, without that resistance to, I don't want this to be happening, this shouldn't be happening. The more we allow this to happen, the more that energy will be with us and then pass along. But the more that we cling to those things, that it shouldn't be happening, we cling to the story and the perspective that our ego wants to give us about whatever is happening, we actually are holding that energy inside of our body instead of allowing it to pass on. And it will pus and color our lives, this energy. When we deny that things are happening, when we push it down, and when we resist it, and we don't allow, we're actually doing the opposite of what we're intending, because we want it to leave us. We want the suffering to go. And so, but we're holding on to, we're saying, no, no, no. What we're actually doing is not allowing that energy to just pass through us. We're not allowing it to come in and then to leave. That resistance, that no, 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 pushing it away, is actually doing the opposite thing that we are intending, which is to let it pass through. So this is important to know. That the more we have non-resistance, the more we can allow whatever is happening to happen, the quicker this energy will move on, because everything is changing. Everything's in flux. So I wanted to share this with you, and I wanted to say that suffering is something that we all go through. We are all going to suffer to various degrees throughout our life. But it is important to bring awareness into the meaning that you are giving your suffering, and to the extent on which you focus on that meaning and that perspective, opposed to just allowing that energy to pass through you, and also examining your curriculum. Examine what it is you are clinging to. Like I said, especially the idea that we have that this shouldn't be happening. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Please subscribe and hit the bell. I hope you're doing well. I know that suffering is painful. So I hope this message finds you well and serves you well. I will connect with you soon. Thank you.